Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome to this new episode of Sudan in Focus weekly news magazine, which focuses on Sudan news and events, aims to give the Sudan TV audience a broad and first-hand information about what is going on in Sudan. So let's go.
President of the Transitional Sovereignty Council (TSC) and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, received a delegation of the High-Level African Mechanism on Sudan headed by محمد bin Shambas. Foreign Minister Ali Sadiq said in a press statement that the head of the mechanism had held meetings during recently with leaders of political parties and civil society organizations in Cairo, Addis Ababa and elsewhere, where he reviewed visions and ideas regarding stopping the war and restoring peace and stability in Sudan. He pointed out that the visit of the African Mechanism delegation comes to inform the President of the Sovereignty Council on the efforts it has undertaken in this regard in order to formulate a vision for a solution that will be presented to all parties and lead to achieving peace and stability in the country.
الهدف الاستراتيجي هي تحرير الأرض من الخرطوم والجزيرة وحتى الجنوب.
Assistant Commander-in-Chief of the Sudanese Army, Lieutenant General Yasser al-Atta, pledged to have iftar in Madani before Eid. Al-Atta said that all Jazeera movements are ready to implement the next phase and described the presence of armed struggle movements with them as a real addition. He added, "Victory will not make us happy, nor defeat will shake us." Al-Atta directed the public prosecutor to file cases against anyone who participated in the war and to expedite their repatriation from the countries to which they fled. In this context, Al-Atta affirmed that they would continue fighting until victory over the militia and said, "We will continue the war and there will be no truce or negotiation with the RSF militia." Lieutenant General Marine Engineer Ibrahim Jaber, member of the Sovereignty Council and Assistant Commander-in-Chief, led a federal delegation that inspected a number of services facilities in Khartoum. The delegation focused on restoring the repayment system for electricity as a step to stop the random delivery of electricity and rationalize and continue its consumption. While the delegation inspected the fieldwork teams for electricity emergencies, which will work to maintain and restore electricity to revive old Omdurman in preparation for the return of citizens. The Minister of Energy and Oil, Engineer Muhyiddin Naim, said that the visit aims to restore services to the liberated areas and prepare them for the return of citizens, and we have provided the spare parts required to repair electricity and water. The delegation concluded its visit by inspecting the conditions of the shelters by visiting Al-Hara 21 Shelter Center, where they checked on the conditions of the arrivals and provided them with in-kind support.
Sudan's permanent representative to the United Nations has called for the condemnation of the United Arab Emirates (UAE). In a letter to the Security Council, he accuses the UAE of supporting the Rapid Support Forces (RSF) in their year-long war against the Sudanese army. Sudan National Television obtained the text of Sudan's complaint to the Security Council against the UAE's support for the Rapid Support Militia from the beginning of the war until now, as well as a document monitoring the support provided by the UAE to the Rapid Support Militia and its allies through Chad. On Thursday, Sudan submitted its complaint to the Security Council in 9 pages, in addition to a document consisting of 43 pages containing a monitoring of the military support provided by the UAE to the militia across Chadian territory. The document monitoring UAE support for the militia, with which Sudan strengthened its complaint to the Security Council, revealed that UAE support for the militia began in June of last year and extended until this March. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs revealed that the Rapid Support RSF militia detained many humanitarian aid trucks from the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF that were on their way to El Fasher to contribute to containing the food and health crisis in the camps for the displaced. The Foreign Ministry said in a statement, on Friday, that the militia began implementing its declared threats to prevent the arrival of humanitarian aid convoys via the Al-Daba Melit El Fasher route, and mobilized numbers of its mercenaries near Melit to block the highway to humanitarian aid convoys and seize that aid. Coinciding with the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan, the militia escalated its attacks on safe villages in the states of Jazeera North and South Kordofan, and in the state of Jazeera alone, and indicated that it attacked 28 villages during the past 2 weeks, killed 43 civilians, and looted the property of the citizens of these villages and their food crops. Sudanese Army SAF aviation destroyed a military supply belonging to the Rapid Support RSF militia coming from South Darfur near Hamrat al-Sheikh area in North Kordofan. A military source affirmed that the aircraft dealt with a militia supply convoy on the road between Sudari and Hamrat al-Sheikh in North Kordofan state, and it was destroyed. He pointed out that the convoy moved on March 26 from Nyala, the capital of South Darfur state, and included about 11 trucks loaded with a number of tanks, on its way to Omdurman. Since the start of the war on April 15, 2023, the Rapid Support RSF militia has exploited the Omdurman-Bara highway, in addition to the Hamra-Sheikh-Omdurman highway, to deliver large quantities of military supplies and transport fighters from the states of Western Sudan. However, over the past few years, military aircraft have been constantly targeting areas in North Kordofan where the militia is based. The Ministry of Culture and Information issued a press statement in which it confirmed that the video published by the UAE channel Sky News had previously been broadcast by the European channel Euronews 7 years ago under the title of The Killing of a Leader of the Somali Youth Movement in a US Raid, and is still present on the channel's platform in the International Information Network to stand as conclusive evidence of the forgery resorted to by the channel to mislead international, local, and regional public opinion. The Ministry of Information said that Sky News Arabia turned into a media mouthpiece for the rebel Rapid Support Forces practicing all forms of crimes against the Sudanese people and trying to divert attention from the support provided by the United Arab Emirates to the rebels to continue their crimes against the Sudanese people.
Nile River, the longest river in the world, and one of the paradise rivers on the earth, also called the father of African rivers. It rises south of equator and flows northward through northeastern Africa to drain into the Mediterranean Sea. It has a length of about 4,132 miles, 6,650 kilometers, and drains an area estimated at 1,293,000 square miles, 3,349,000 square kilometers. Its basin includes part of Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Sudan, and the cultivated part of Egypt. The Nile is formed by 3 principal streams: the Blue Nile, النيل الأزرق, and the Adbara, نهر Adbara, which flow from the highlands of Ethiopia, Tana Lake, and the White Nile, النيل الأبيض, the heavy streams of which flow into the lakes Victoria and Albert. White Nile and Blue Nile join in Khartoum city in point called with Al-Mugran. The name Nile is derived from the Greek Nilos, which probably originated from the Semitic root Nahal, meaning a valley or a river valley, and hence, by extension of the meaning a river. The fact that Nile, unlike other great rivers unknown to them, flowed from the south northward and was in flood at the warmest time of the year was an unsolved mystery to the ancient Egyptians and Greeks. The Nile River's basin, which covers about 1/10 of the area continent, served as the stage for the evolution and decay of advanced civilization in the ancient world. On the banks of the river dwelled people who were among the first to cultivate the art of the agriculture and to use the plow. The basin is the border on the north by the Mediterranean, on the east by the Red Sea Hills and the Ethiopian Plateau, on the south by the East African highlands, which include Lake Victoria and others, a Nile source, and on the west by the less well-defined watershed between the Nile, Chad, and Congo basins, extending northwest to include the Marra Mountains of Sudan, the Al-Jilf Al-Kabir Plateau of Egypt, and the Libyan desert part of the Sahara. The Nile River is also a vital waterway from transport, especially at times when motor transport is not feasible. Improvement in air, rail, and highways facilities beginning in the 20th century. It is thought that approximately 30 million years ago, the early Nile, then a much shorter stream, had its source at about 18 to 20 latitude. Its main head streams may then have been the present Adbara River. The Nile enters South Sudan at Nimuli and from there to Juba, distance of some 120 miles. It's called Al-Jabal River or Mountain Nile. This section of river descends through narrow gorges and over series of rapids and receives additional water from shore tributaries of both banks. It is not commercially navigable. Below Juba, the river flows over a large and very level clay plain, which extends through narrow valley with hill country on either side, lying some 1,200 to 1,500 feet, 370 to 460 meters above sea level, and through the center of which flows the main streams. Bahr al-Ghazal River, South Sudan, chief western affluent of the Nile River, near the border with Central African Republic. Nile River is one of the most unique tourist icons in all over the world, cause for the multi-attractive and beautiful sceneries along river. Furthermore, the Nile River have a multi-water activities like rafting, kayaking, and Nile cruise, also trekking and camping at resorts, in deserts, and in the Nile Island. So this makes Sudan one of the most important countries relatively tourist field.
In Darfur, where there's smoke, there's usually fighting. And in some cases, the perpetrators make themselves known. Militiamen affiliated with the RSF, proudly filming their ambush with smoke rising in the back. Scorched earth tactics used in the Darfur conflict of the early 2000s, on display again. A team of investigators at the Center for Information Resilience have verified 180 individual fires that have impacted 108 villages since war broke out between the army and the RSF in mid-April 2023. An analysis by Sky's data and forensics team found that over a quarter had been targeted more than once.
There is a clear pattern that suggests that these fires are conflict related. What we've also seen is that it's not just settlements being targeted, but there is also frequent fires at IDP camps, which would result in double displacement and people having to leave again.
Have you ever seen anything like this, Sanook?
But this scale, we haven't. I have personally not seen this before, which of course is difficult to quantify in that sense. Scorched earth tactics are not necessarily a new phenomenon, but the way that they are being rolled out is shocking.
Settlements in West and South Darfur have been the worst hit, with our analysis showing many were burnt again, even after the rapid support forces took control. Satellite images of Mistere in West Darfur appear to show most of the town being systematically destroyed by fire since October last year. But even before then, we watched from the border as fires ravaged the town and civilians fled gunfire. In North Darfur, the holdout state, there's an ongoing fight for power. And recent fires have been from army airstrikes. This one killed at least 9 people and left 12 families homeless. Nermat tells us they have no water, no food, and no place to live. She says they're gathered on the ash and burnt remains of their homes with nowhere to go, hoping for help. Just one example of the tragedies fueling the largest displacement crisis in the world. A single fire destroying a neighborhood, and a blaze of fires destroying a nation.
Mangrove trees are considered as one of the economic, environment and tourism importance that can play a major role in our community. Mangrove located along the Red Sea coast in Sudan, there are a lot of forests on seasonal essentials. Along the Red Sea coast, which surrounded by coral reefs, that considered as the marine environment ecosystem for the marine organism and wild creatures which feed on the mangrove trees, and it has nutritious substances that comes from the Red Sea mountains chain that can provide protection for the marine organisms beside the seashores from the corrosion. The tree leaves of the mangrove used for treating gum and liver in addition to feed wild animals, also used in making houses, pots and absorption carbon gases. Mangrove trees located in southern Sawakin in Haydub Port and Kalanayeb district. The heat of the mangrove trees ranges between 5 milli to 12 milli that can preserving the environment biodiversity. Mangrove trees provide fertile environment for many fish to grow.
البيبان والطاقة وامسحنت دمع الحراقة. افتحنا البيبان والطاقة وامسحنت دمع الحراقة. نحن اللي بنحقق أمانينا نزح الوجع متحدينا. نحن اللي بنحقق أمانينا نزح الوجع متحدينا. نبي الأشواق
النيل سقياه الغيمة وعدا أصبح في قرشيمة.
شايلاه عزيمة النار بتموت ونحن نسينا.
النيل سقياه الغيمة وعدا أصبح في قرشيمة.
شايلاه عزيمة النار بتموت ونحن نسينا.
النار بتموت لو نحن نسينا. الخير بيفوت لو تراخانا.
ملفينا الخوف بيضيع ونحن بدينا الخوف ملفينا الخوف بيضيع ونحن بدينا المطر بتغسي الخوف ملفينا الخوف بيضيع ونحن بدينا الخوف ملفينا الخوف بيضيع ونحن بدينا الخوف بيضيع ونحن بدينا